Now, he is the football legend turned broadcaster, and over the past 40 years, Gary Lineker has made his mark as one of our favourite sporting stars.
Well, as he prepares to lift the lid on his footballing career, Gary joins us now. That's because he has this podcast and he has this book based on the podcast, and it's called Behind Closed Doors, right?
Yep.
So now that you've opened the doors, what do we find behind them?
Well, lots of anecdotal stories. It's funny because when I first started doing the podcast with Danny, I was thinking, gosh, my memory's not very good. I'm not going to remember these things.
Yeah.
But so many things have been triggered by it. So it's lots of amusing stories, some serious bits. It's kind of autobiographical in a way, certainly around the football side of things. And it's a cross with Danny because people that perhaps have heard the podcast will know that I come at it as a former professional footballer with my memories, and he comes at it as a lifelong football fan. So
fanatic, I suppose,
it's worked. It's become very popular.
Whose idea was the podcast initially?
Well, it was mine, along with my partner in my production company, and we were talking about doing a podcast. They're really popular. Everyone's doing them, and he was going, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I don't want to do one with like a couple of pundits or something, talk about the weekend's games, because that's kind of what I do anyway." And there's so many of those out there, and not many good ones. But I thought, if I could do something just a bit like what I just described, and he's gone, "Well, who would you do it with then if it's not a football?" I went,
Eamonn,
Holmes. Someone like...
No.
Well, obviously you were first choice, Eamonn, but I just assumed you'd be too busy. But then I thought, I don't know, someone like Danny Baker, because I was like Danny as a broadcaster. He's very funny, he's quirky, he's a different football fan. And he went, that's a great idea. So I thought, I didn't really know Danny. I'd met him at a couple of parties, Jonathan Ross's parties or something, and then we got on OK, and I interviewed him once. So I thought, I'll direct message him on Twitter because we follow each other, and he's funny on Twitter. And he didn't answer me for about 5-6 days. So I thought I thought, tweet him again. I went, I'll take that as a no then. And then a day later he went, oh, I'm sorry, I've been away and I don't have a phone. I said, what do you mean you don't have a phone? He doesn't have a mobile phone. He genuinely doesn't have a phone.
You're wise, man.
Yeah, in many ways, yeah. So he only actually does his tweeting stuff when he's at home in front of his computer.
Oh, but of course, his tweets have got him into trouble, of course, haven't they?
Oh, he did, yeah. He cocked up. He made a big mistake. And it was genuinely just a mistake because Danny's, I know Danny really well. If he was a racist at all,
but here, tell me this. So you do this podcast, and this is very interesting. You do it in your kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So you're cooking.
Yeah. So I cook something, different things every week. Yeah, that looked like one of my Sunday lunches. That for the boys.
You see, my wife does the same. She's like you, whereas I would stress doing that. She relaxes doing that, and like you, she's on Instagrams doing her chicken and gravy and all that sort of thing.
I find it relaxing.
But it's
the whole
I
prepping.
love it. I really love it.
But you were always into food, and I'm going to bring you
into eating food. I've only just become... It's only 3 years or so.
We're going to see the evidence of that now. We're going to go back, and I think the year is about 1992, and this is you and me eating, right? We're eating, and this is well, I have to say, this is a gotcha Oscar for Noel Edmonds. Do you remember that?
God, I do, because I knew, though.
The year is 1992, and this is Noel's house party.
It's the Japanese link thing.
Yes, Gary is thinking he's on a show, which I'm sort of hosting, and it's linked up to two experts in Japan, where he was playing football at the time, or just retired from playing football.
Just finished there, yeah.
Always the fast wit, even then?
Well, I sussed that out quite early. Even on the way to it, I thought, there's something stinks about this. And I remember being in the dressing room before it, looking round for hidden cameras, because it was like a link, it was supposed to be a link to Japan. Yeah. And I'm thinking, that's fine, I've done loads of those. One camera, voice in your ear. They've got Eamonn Holmes. They've got, like, loads of cameras. And I'm thinking, where's Noel Edmonds? Where is he?
No. Now, tell me this. Why do you feel, in terms of, you well-renowned broadcaster and, you're well-established in sports here and all that, why do you put your head above the parapet and comment on social media?
Because I'm a fool.
Yeah, because you...
I don't know. It's just started a few years ago probably with FIFA, because I hated some of the corruption that was going on. So I went against Blatter early, and I was, on that occasion, proved right. And then there's other things that I felt important about. Obviously, I've voiced my concerns and worries about Brexit and the division of the country that's come to pass. So I don't know. It's probably because suddenly I had had a platform called Twitter, social media. We'd never had that before, did we?
And you get older,
so I'd only ever
care
talk
less,
football.
don't you? As you get older, you sort of think, what's the
Well,
worst?
I don't worry about sharing my opinions. I don't mind if people disagree. It's fine. I've got mates who are Brexiteers, and I'm obviously the other side, but we don't fall out about it. That's what I find
That's
a bit
what people
depressing.
are getting annoyed with the
It's
politicians.
mad, isn't it?
It's the kind of nastiness that's going on.
Exactly, and it's worrying. It's worrying how divided we are.
Very worrying, very worrying. I've got to say goodbye to you, because we're getting to the end of the programme.
So fast.
You know what that's like, someone shouting in your ear.
See you tomorrow night, Match of the Day.
Keep watching.
Yeah, keep watching.
Good man.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
always do. Thank you very much
Thank you,
indeed.
Gary.